Hey there guys, my name is Rick Utzer here with Dog River Design Everything Tech. Today we're going to take a look at the Nook 11 Enthusiast that we picked up on eBay. Got an entire gaming setup for 550 bucks. Just a great deal. We've done the unboxing. Now it's time to take a look at all the pieces, parts, and see how they work together. Let's get started. So let's talk about some of the features and just the technical specs. I printed off the sheet. I will have all of the material that we talk about, whether it's some of the synthetic benchmarks we've run. I'll have all of that on our website. It's dogriverdesign.tech. So as we go through the various pieces of equipment, and I have a bunch of it already piled up, we're going to be able to have charts that you can compare one thing to another, give you something to look at that way. So the kit comes without anything as far as no RAM, no hard drive. You get to add that. I believe the original owner bought this with 32 gigs of RAM and a 512. They pulled that out, put faster RAM, still 32 gigs, put faster RAM in it, and put two 2 terabyte NVMe drives, Gen 4 drives. Really, really nice configuration. I'm thinking I'll probably keep the fast RAM, put a 1 terabyte drive in it. That's going to let me do what I want to do, and I'll recycle those bigger drives to something else. But anyway, out of the gate, what you're getting is an 11th gen i7 laptop processor. The exact model is 1165G7. I don't know what all that means, but you can probably find that out. Just Google it, and you have the Intel ARC. It'll show you what all the features are. But we're looking at a 4.7 turbo. It's 4-core, 8-thread. Comes with the Iris Xe graphics, but the reason I got this was it had the RTX 2060 in it. So I actually find that a relatively reasonably decent GPU for the kind of games I play. I play Valorant and I play Halo Infinite, and I do some light video editing. I mean, that's what I would do on something like this. And just spoiler, it does all that very, very well. We'll get to some actual numbers here later. It has 6 gigs of VRAM. And let's see, some of the other features you have, it has two Gen 3 slots. So even though he put Gen 4 drives in it, doesn't really do you any good. They're good fast drives, but they're going to run Gen 3 speed. It has, let's see, we've got 4 on the back USB 3 ports. We've got, is this Thunderbolt? 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports. We have a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. We have Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth. So it's saying it has a total of 6 USB Gen 3.1. That's good. The slot, the memory card reader is a UHS Type 2, so it should do high-speed transfer, which is awesome. Let's see, it's got a mic in it. That's kind of cool. I haven't looked at that. I haven't even tried that, but that's kind of neat. That's got that built in. I did test like external drives, and I did test the memory cards. My memory cards didn't read fast in this. Maybe I'll try a different card later. But the external drives, this one can do 1,000 megabytes, and it would go anywhere between 600 and 800 with sustained transfer. So pretty fast. I mean, that worked really well. The memory card was about 95, but that could be these, although I should have run faster. I don't know. I can test some other cards later. But all in all, for getting data back and forth, you can do that pretty smoothly. One thing that I wish it had was more display connections, whether that's HDMI or DisplayPort. It's got one DisplayPort, one HDMI. Now you probably can run out of a USB-C or some of those other things, or the Thunderbolt. But you take like the minis for them, this guy right here, we've got 4 display options. We've got 2 HDMI and 2 DisplayPort. That's kind of cool. That's nice, and I wish this had more options. I want to use this. I was thinking about using this for a flight simulator setup, which would take 3 screens the way I would want to do it. And I'm thinking, all right, how do I get that 3rd screen on? I could go USB with a dual HDMI, but anyway, I don't want to have all that extra appendages. I wish they'd put a couple extra ways to get direct connection to a monitor out of it. But other than that, I've been super happy with it. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of our synthetic benchmarks. We'll start off with Cinebench. This processor is not going to win any races, guys, just as a heads up. It's okay, it's adequate, and it certainly gets the job done in the gaming scenarios and light work duties that I was doing. But if you can do like serious work that you want like raw horsepower, this isn't the right fit. Our multi-core score was around 5,600, which is pretty low. Our single core is right at 1449 or 1450. Again, we're not winning any races here. It's adequate, but it's not like on the upper end of performance by any stretch. We switch over to Geekbench. We see some other numbers. Now, again, as we begin reporting on the other systems, we're going to actually compare like this hardware set is here and this hardware set is here. We'll be able to see a difference, and you guys can make some decisions on which is better for you. This is being our first one where we're using these numbers. They don't mean a lot, but they hopefully will mean more as we go forward. So Geekbench 6, single core is 2053, multi-core was 6123. Our OpenCL was 42907, and our Vulkan was 62562. So I don't know how those are going to relate to other stuff. We're going to get to that. That'll be kind of interesting. Let's see, our next picture we have was 3D Mark, and we just ran Firestrike here. Firestrike, as we see, we've got some scores. We were at 14,696. Now this, I think the strength here isn't in the CPU. The strength is that the CPU bundled with the GPU, they work very well together. In gaming, like in my Valorant and also Halo, Valorant was pushing, and I'm running 1080p high settings. I actually like high settings. I'm not a competitive gamer at all. I do it to goof off and blow off steam and have fun. So I'm less concerned about that extra millisecond because I'm not going to win anyway. I just like to have fun, and I like it to look pretty when I'm having fun. So I turn everything to max. That's where I run it, which I know is not how you're supposed to do it. It's how I do it. And the scores, or the frame rates I'm getting, were close to 200, pretty much steady. So if you had a 144 monitor or 165 monitor, you could lock that in and you'd be like on it. Now with Halo Infinite, those numbers were a little bit lower. We topped out around 100 frames per second, but really ran between 70 and 100. So you might want to lock that in at 60 and just have a nice smooth gaming experience. And I'm running a 60 hertz monitor here, so cranking it really doesn't do me a huge visual advantage. I understand that you generally want to run 2x of whatever your refresh rate is. Now I could lower the settings on Halo and get that, but I was running the default, whatever it said, no scaling, just raw, go for it. I could certainly tweak it and get my FPS up if I wanted, but I was just having fun. Let's move on to something else. Our Passmark now, if you guys use this or not. I like this because it's free. At least the trial version's free. And you can compare this to your computer and kind of get an idea. Oh, that's about here, right? So now you do need to consider things change. So a percentage today, like if this was 84th percentile, if you look at that, that's great. But we're going to get newer processors, newer stuff, and that percentage is going to be different. So 6 months from now, this may be 60th percentile, right? So do take that with a grain of salt. But if you were to check your computer right now against this one, and you would get some numbers, you can kind of see where you're at. So you can see where we're landing here. The overall was pretty good at 6992, so 84th percentile. Your CPU mark was at 12 and some change. Some of the more performant processors are going to be closer to 30 or up, so you got to get the idea there. Graphics, the 2D graphics, that's your general office stuff, is 809. I generally see like more performant graphics being in the 11 to 1200 range there. So it's not that far off, and if you're doing office work, this is going to be more than adequate. Dropping down to 3D graphics, we're at 11,000 and some change. Not bad. I don't have anything to compare that with right at the moment, but we will as we do our next batch of tests. Memory mark, memory did pretty well at 70th percentile. And our disk mark, the disks are fast. These disks really, they probably add to the overall responsiveness of the system. So good quality drives can make a real big difference on how how you perceive the performance of a computer. That's your slowest component. Getting data from the drives to the screen and back so that you're actually working with that, your hard drives are the biggest bottleneck. So as fast as you can make those go, it's going to make the computer feel faster. Little tip there. So if we move on to our PC Mark, now this is, again, this you got to pay for this. I got it through Steam. And again, we're going to use this as a way to just generate some numbers that we can use to compare. And timing is, you know, these numbers are as of like a few days ago, and it's 2024 January. So if you're watching this much later, the numbers may not be that relevant, but we're going to try to just keep some numbers going. So PC Mark, the overall score was, say, 5,500, which amongst some of the other stuff I've tested is mid-average, kind of middle to lower in the overall sort of synthetic capacity. And then we get down to the essentials. I don't know why it gave me such a low overall score when some of the other scores were seemingly pretty good. Essentials were 8,300, productivity 7,500, and digital content 7,200. And that deals with how the computer is going to handle creative tasks, productivity, office tasks, and that kind of stuff. I like these kind of numbers. I like the fact that for not a lot of money, you could actually kind of compare your system to this system and have an idea. Between all the other components we got, this whole package, and that we're talking about the unit, the mouse, the keyboard, the headphones. Headphones were like a big standout to me. I've never used those before. Really like them, super comfortable, very, very nice. But all of this, and I haven't even used the mouse pad yet, for $550, it's one of those things where I don't think you could go wrong with that. I would not pay retail for something like this. There's other options that are going to have more performance. I mean, just baseline better performance than, say, this. But when you put it all together, it was a great deal. And I really enjoyed working with this. And I look forward to moving this over to my house, where we're going to have it as basically a media PC. Now, I do want to show you the insides of this unit before we wrap this video up. To get this open, you've got 8 screws, and then our lid comes off. I like to find a place that can make some custom panels for me. I think that would be really cool, because I'd love to have something like this where I could have my logo or other logos, or maybe be able to create panels for other people to have these units. It'd be pretty fun. So once you get this open, there are 5 screws, and they're labeled. The top screws are not torque. The top screws are Allen. The internal screws are Phillips. They're probably, number 1 Phillips. And then this piece pulls off. Now there is a connector under here for the LED. So don't just yank, right? So you're going to take that off there. And now this is the inside. If you want to swap components out, it's like super easy. You got your 2 hard drives, you got your memory. So you can pick this up as a bare bones. You can see it's very easy to upgrade. You got 9 screws, very easy access. Be careful of the cable. And you can drop in whatever hard drive you want and whatever RAM you want. So I think that's pretty cool. I haven't taken this all the way apart. There's no need to. There's no need to get to the underside of this, because everything you need to address is right on top. What did impress me, and right before we wrap up here, what did impress me was the overall heft and, I don't know, the build quality of this. I was expecting more plastic like this is. This is performant, but it's plasticky, okay? It just is. This, there's a difference. When you pick the 2 up, there's a difference in how they feel, and the build quality, I think, is noticeable. If that's important to you, then I wanted to let you know. This seems like it's built like a tank. I've not had any issues with overheating, haven't had any issues with it being loud. It's just been really pleasant to work with. Now, I'm already decided, after talking about it a little bit, I am going to move it over there, and I'm going to get this set up to run maybe a week or 2 and see how it does, just playing some games, play my normal everyday games over there, take my break from work, go play a game or 2. Maybe I'll record some of that, and we'll use some of that footage in our next video. But anyway, I'm a fan. I think I got a great deal. If you guys are interested in something a little small like this, now you guys have a little idea of how it worked, at least for me. Hopefully you guys can find a good deal as well and enjoy the Intel Nook 11 Enthusiast. All right, guys, that's going to be it. If you found this useful or helpful, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and also the notification bell. If you have any suggestions for us, please put those down in the viewer comments. We really do appreciate them. My name is Rick User here with Dog River Design Everything Tech. Thanks for watching.